Hello everyone, it's so nice to be here. Thank you for coming today, and thank you to Cape and Coast, and thank you to the Chamber and all our wonderful sponsors. I really enjoyed our last workshop together if you were here, or there I should say, at another location on LinkedIn. And I'm really grateful to Amy for reaching out to the membership. We talked about having another workshop and there were so many ideas we had. I said, what would everyone like to learn about? So AI came up as number one, so I'm really excited to be here. And at the end, I have a slide, but I'll tell you now, there's some flyers in the back. I do teach at Stonehill College in the graduate division, and for the first time this fall, we are offering a course down here on the Cape. It will be in Sandwich at Riverview School in the fall, and it's a course on innovative problem solving, creativity, and AI. And if you're interested, we are offering a 20% discount to all of our Cape Cod friends. The Graduate Studies program is actually a member of the Cape Cod Chamber, and we really love supporting businesses. So again, I'll have a slide, and there's a flyer in the back if you'd like some more information. So before we jump in, I'm going to admit something. I was a little bit nervous when AI came up as a top topic, because I thought, oh, I don't know that I'm an expert in AI. But you know what? That's the beauty and kind of the common theme throughout this. AI is so new that unless you're one of those programmers and high-level scientists who works at OpenAI or one of the big companies, everyone like us, we're just figuring it out. How do we use it? What works? What doesn't work? What's good for small business? What's good for teachers? What's good for artists? What's good for writers? So, like many people, I have jumped in on a personal and a professional level to just do a lot of research. I incorporate AI into all my classes. Of course, as teachers, we're all worried that the students are going to stop thinking and just using AI. And of course, as businesses, we want to make sure that our content is authentic, that we're not copyright infringement is not an issue, and so on. So I bring to you today something that's really tailored. I think it's really basic, but really practical. At the end, we're going to pull up ChatGPT. I must need some more coffee. And we're going to try out some things and some of the prompting that we learned today, and maybe some business problems that you have. So we'll jump right in. This is a little bit about me and a little bit about what we're going to do today. What is AI? How it works? Why it matters for you and small business? We're going to talk about prompting. Prompting is what you put into the AI to hopefully get the output you want. And then we're going to do a little bit of practice. And there's a little bit about me. I'm not a lifelong academic. I actually come from corporate, 28 years in the private sector in marketing and business roles. And I really enjoy bringing all of that into the classroom and into workshops and volunteering with the Chamber and helping small business. So let me start out by asking, how many of you are using AI at all in any format? Excellent. On a scale of 1 to 3, let's just say 3 means, wow, I'm doing some really advanced things. 2 is like, I use it every now and then for a few things. And 1 is like, oh, I know how to open Grok or ChatGPT and write a few things in it. How many people think you're a 3? Excellent. A couple of people. Good. How about some 2s? You can be honest. We're a friendly group. How about some 1s? Excellent. That's great. Well, hopefully we'll raise the bar a little bit for everybody today. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is, what is AI? How many people have seen the movie The Terminator? Yeah, right. That's what all the young people say. Oh my goodness, Skynet. That's going to happen. In reality, AI, and I'm oversimplifying here, is software. It's just technology that allows computers to simulate human-like tasks. Now, I am oversimplifying when I say software. If you think about Excel, for example, Excel is software, and we probably all use Excel or Word, right? And we put something into it, and it does certain tasks like calculations or maybe word spell checks for us. But it doesn't do anything other than exactly what we put into it. That's where AI starts to differ. AI is so complicated, and I won't even pretend to dive into all the scientific background on it. It can actually take what we put in it and actually transform it or interpret it or think about it. And it does that by neural networks, which essentially are very similar to our brains. So it actually can take what is put into it and manipulate it, think about it, and put something out as an output that's very different from what we put in. That's the best way to explain it. Basically, AI can generate text, it can generate images, ideas, and even analysis. But the big thing is it learns patterns from large data sets. It is trained. I mean, before an AI like the latest ChatGPT was released, it was trained for years and years and years. Literally, people sat in rooms and put information into it, almost like a giant encyclopedia. That's a good and a bad thing. We're going to do a little exercise in a minute, and I hope I have some volunteers. But you know, you've all been using AI for years. How many people, when you go on a website and it says, would you like to chat with the chat bot and ask it a question? That's AI. How many people are using Siri? Siri is AI. So even when you look at writing assistants, I'm a big fan of Grammarly. You might even use the editor in Word. Does anybody do that and spell check and have it look at your language? So you've been using AI for a long time. This just feels really different because of the power of it and the speed at which it's actually starting to take over and come out and do so many new things. So how does it work? Again, it's trained on massive data sets, and we have to keep this in mind. So I want to do a little exercise. Do I have 3 volunteers? It's not scary, I promise. 3 volunteers? Excellent. Okay. So I'm going to give this to you and make sure you keep it and don't show anyone. And I'm going to give this to you. And you also do not want to show it to anyone. And how about a third? Oh, good. We have someone in the back? Great. So if you'll read those for me, you're all going to be AIs today. Here you go.
Thank you.
So just read what that says. Right now we're training our AIs in something very basic. And we're going to ask it a question that's probably near and dear to all of our hearts. So I'm going to check in with our AIs, and I'm going to ask you a question, and you're not going to read what's there, but you're going to give me an answer based on your training, because that's what you've been told. Does that make sense? Or you can kind of read the top if you want. Yeah. So that's your training about the subject of Cape Cod weather. All right? So you all set? Okay. And you know what you've been trained on, so you need to answer only on what you've been trained on.
Cape Cod weather is always sunny and beautiful.
Oh, it is? That's wonderful. That's great. That's great, because I want to take a vacation there. So that's what I put in on my prompt. I'm going to take a vacation. What's the weather going to be like? Or I put your prompt, your AI number 2. What do you say?
I say depending on what you're planning on doing, you may want to check the weather often because it changes quickly.
Oh, it changes quickly. Ooh, I don't know if I like that quite so much. AI number 3, I'm planning a vacation on Cape Cod. What can you tell me about the weather?
Well, first, congratulations on visiting Cape Cod. It's a wonderful oceanside community. Because we are a peninsula, you can experience many different types of weather, depending on the season.
What are some examples?
Some examples could be rainstorms and high winds.
And high winds, yikes. That's a little crazy. So I asked the AIs the same question, but I got 3 very different answers. That's because they were trained very differently. And actually what's interesting about AI number 3, I told AI number 3, you've never been trained on it. And you know what? She answered me anyway. So what did she do? Yeah.
I took advantage of the massive database that's already been built.
Ah, so you did tap into that. What if it was a topic that there was no database? What will the AI do? Make it up. Hallucinate. Hallucinate. So if you, and one of the things that could happen that's on that sheet, the AI could say, don't know about this, but all the AI wants to do is please you. It's going to give you an answer. So it says, well, I'm looking at Cape Cod at this database. It's by the ocean. Japan's by the ocean. Cape Cod weather has tsunamis and typhoons, and you'll be like, oh my goodness. Now we know that it doesn't have it because, well, should I knock on wood? This big wooden floor. But what if someone across the world knows nothing about Cape Cod and they're like, oh, wow, okay, tsunamis and typhoons, I guess so. That's a really volatile place. The first thing to always remember is that the AI will give you an answer. It rarely says, I don't know. I have done a prompt over and over and over again to try to drill down and find, because it wasn't giving me what I wanted, and at the end it finally said, Kristen, I actually don't know how to do this. And I was like, whoa, okay, that's new. But most of the time, it will give you something. So it's really important as we go through these exercises to remember that AI is not the be-all and end-all. Kind of like that funny little saying that, we hear people say, oh, if it's on the internet, it must be true. When we all know that's not true, right? Same thing with AI. So we do have to be careful. What an AI does is it recognizes patterns in language and information, and it tries to get the information from someone else if it doesn't have it. And it's almost like, again, like Siri. I mean, we can say certain things to Siri, and you might say it one way and I might say it another, and she'll give us the right answer because she's been trained. Look at me calling her a she. She's been trained to recognize those patterns. So when you give a prompt, the AI predicts the most useful response. That's all it wants to do. It doesn't know or even care if what it's giving you is true. And for you, the clearer the prompt, the better the output. So that's what we're going to talk a lot about today. So how do most people use AI? Most people use it like a web browser, like Google. They ask it questions, they ask it calculations, they replace human interaction, and they ask it to write content just without really any oversight. Give me a social media post on this, or write an email that does this. I have done many of those things. How many of you are using AI in some of those ways? Quite a few of us, okay. The number one prompt research shows that people put into an AI, even with other information, is what should I do? Isn't that interesting? So this is slightly problematic in a number of ways. First of all, it often is replacing human interaction. I have an employee that I think is stealing. I need to address this. What should I do? No context, no what are the details? Are you going to email them? Do you need to have a sit-down conversation with them? Is it a serious offense in your company? What do you hope the outcome to be? Are you going to need to just give them a warning? Do you need to fire them? So all of those things would really be helpful. Sometimes people, as you've probably read, use AI for personal reasons. I've had a fight with my boyfriend and I think I should leave. What should I do? AI is not really the entity to be asking that, right? But a lot of people replace that human action. The danger is loss of what they call cognitive load, and I'm very aware of this as a teacher. Cognitive load is the hardest part of thinking through something. And unfortunately, it's also the most important, and we need to keep our minds fresh and we need to keep it working. So when we start and think through a problem and say, okay, my employee is stealing. All right, here are the facts that I know. Here's what our company policy says. Here's what I think that I should do. I think I should do a warning, and then our policy is X, Y, and Z. When you want extra help with that, you've just done the cognitive load. So this is where humans add value where AI cannot. Our experience, our expertise, and our empathy AIs don't know humans, we do. Not everything is as cut and dried as finding something in a database and giving us an answer, right? So when we use AI, we should never stop using that cognitive load. For my students, and might not be relevant to you, lots of teachers are worried about students just using AI. I provide an essay prompt, and they simply put it into ChatGPT and say, I'm a marketing student. I need to answer this in a 250-word essay, write it. What are they learning from that? So one of the things that I do to force cognitive load, if you will, is I build AI into the assignment. I say, here's what I want you to answer and do, and then I want you to use AI to transform it in X, Y, and Z. Then all of a sudden, they realize I have to use AI, so I need to do something original in order to see its power. So that's one way to kind of get around that. Any questions so far? You can always jump in. All right, so what are the best uses for AI? Automating repetitive tasks. So even, I was just speaking to Kate, she said her son automates his entire workflow in Excel. That's pretty advanced. I haven't even done that yet. I have another colleague who automated an AI to look through his emails every morning and answer the ones that were really simple or involved putting a calendar entry on his calendar, and he never looks at it. And he trusts it to do it, and the AI sends him the emails that are more complicated. Interesting. Analyzing data, it's really good for that, especially large data sets. It can do it like that. In the old days, we might have taken who gets reviews maybe on their website or from customers. We might sit there and average them up by hand. We could type them into Excel, and we could write a little formula that says average this row. Or you could literally say, AI, go into my Yelp field, this is my company name, here's the link, give me the average of the reviews, and write a summary of what people like and don't like about my business. How long do you think it will take to give that to you? Maybe 4 seconds? 3-4 seconds, maybe? Yeah, so fast. Generating content, but with oversight, and we're gonna practice a little bit of that. How many of you do email blasts? Or social media posts, or maybe you're writing some content for a brochure or a website? You are the experts in your business. So you do want to start with something, and you want to put that in, but then we'll learn some prompting basics. You want to say, this is for a social post for people who are summering on Cape Cod and who want to buy flowers. And you give it a lot of input so that it provides an output for you that you can then further manipulate. It's really great at summarizing. If you have a long piece of writing, if you have a brochure, if you have something that you're reading for training, you can upload it, tell it to read it, and give you some talking points or an outline. It can create alternate formats. For example, I might have a white paper that I've written back in my corporate days, and I actually want to turn that into a really short social post. I'll upload a 5-page white paper and say, I want a social post that's around 6 sentences long. This is the target, it's for LinkedIn. I need a call to action to bring them back to my website, and in 3 seconds, I have that. Providing alternate points of view. This is a great one for employee relations. Sometimes if I have to write a difficult email at work, I'll say, I am writing this email, here's the situation, is there anything in here that would offend them? Am I being snarky at all, for example? And it will come back and reword and give me a point of view. Or I need to send this to a group of office workers, and I send the same information to a group of senior managers. Can you write this both ways? And it does a wonderful job of doing that. Everything above, that's why the all is capitalized, is with input and oversight. And I have a little rule of thumb that has on a later slide. AI should never be your first pass or your last pass. AI comes in the middle. You start with a prompt and with inputs that show that you're the human, that you're an expert, that you have empathy, that you have knowledge. And then it's going to give you something that's pretty good. But even then, you need to read it. It could hallucinate. It could be a little too stodgy. Have you ever read a post, bless you, for example, on social media and said, well, that was AI generated? You know what? Little secret. ChatGPT, it loves M dashes and it loves emojis. It also, this is a funny thing that we've been passing around as teachers, it loves the word moreover. If you have a student that says X, Y, and Z, moreover, you're like, no student uses the word moreover. So those are the sorts of things, in all seriousness, that you want to take and refine just a little further for your last step. That's why AI is perfect in the middle. Well, why is it perfect for you? And really for everyone, but especially for small businesses. First of all, it saves time on repetitive tasks. Once you learn to use it, things that you do a whole lot, you can set up a workflow or set up a prompt that's really working well for you and save it and do it over and over again. It will help generate marketing ideas really quickly. It's a wonderful idea generator with your input. Let's say you want a customer appreciation event. You know it wants to be in the spring and you want to have it at your location to showcase it. And you'd like to think of a theme and some things that you could do for the customers there, even food ideas. Put all that in, it's wonderful. It'll give you 10 ideas that you're like, oh my goodness. And I bet perhaps maybe not one of them is perfect, but you will get so many great idea starters to go from. It'll assist you with writing emails, posts, and promotions. We just talked a little bit about that. Plus, it provides assistance and support 24/7. If you're a small business owner like the other business owners I know, gosh, who knows when you're doing your work? 5 in the morning, midnight, on your lunch break when you can steal a few minutes away. It will definitely help a small team do more with limited resources. You know, again, everyone's a little afraid that AI will replace us, but I always say, no, AI won't replace you. Someone who knows how to use AI might replace you. But as a small business owner, you need to know how to use AI so that you can use your team to their highest potential and really minimize your resources. And of course, it's free. Yes, you can get a plus version. I personally have a plus version of ChatGPT because of what I use it for, and I want to make sure I have unlimited prompting and some of the language modeling and so on. But I have to say, at work and other places, I use the free version, and especially if you're starting out, it will work just fine. So what are some marketing tasks that it can streamline? Because marketing is a big area for a lot of small business owners. Social media posts, email marketing, blog outlines, product descriptions, brainstorming campaign ideas, editing and rewriting content, and even generating templates. It will generate a social media template for you that you can then keep and put all of your posts in, a PowerPoint template, a template for your invoices or for customer presentations. It can do a whole lot for you. Again, with your input and oversight, because it's going to need to understand your business and really give you what you want in a really targeted manner. Now, a lot of people ask, there's so many, which AI should I use? So, I asked AI, which AI is right for small business owners? So I'll demo what I did here. And it gave me a list. So let's review that. We've got ChatGPT, versatile, one of the most versatile AIs out there. It's great at writing emails, brainstorming, generating blog posts, and even coding. If you're a technical person and you want to do some coding, that's great. Claude, very complex, long-form content. It can actually offer strategic advice for really high-level operational tasks, and it provides high-quality writing. If you're a Microsoft 365 user, Copilot comes with that program, and it integrates really well with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook, and it can draft, analyze, and automate documents. Google Gemini is great for research, creates content, summarizes data, and you can actually code it for specialized tasks. Now, I consider Canva and Grammarly to also have a lot of AI and infused in them. How many of you are using Canva? I love Canva. It makes me look like an expert, right? It creates professional graphics and media posts and simple videos, and you can pay to have some more even advanced AI features where it will work with your images, do things to your copy, and do things to your templates. And then Grammarly, I'm a major Grammarly user. Anybody use Grammarly? It's great. I love it. It improves communication with AI-driven suggestions for clarity, tone, grammar, and that is a paid service, but it's usually pretty reasonable, and if you write a lot, it will integrate right into Microsoft Word if you're using it. It'll integrate right into your emails, and it automatically pops up and gives me suggestions as I'm writing. So I said to myself, you know, that's not the easiest thing to digest. I think we need a chart for our workshop with the Yarmouth Chamber. So I went into Copilot and I said, I pasted that in and said, can you convert this into an easy to read and colorful chart? And here's what I got. What do you think? Some of you are kind of going, that's okay. I kind of went, all right, it's a chart. Did I not tell you AI loves emojis? Is there an emoji that is not in that chart? My goodness. But it's not really easy to read, I don't think. I mean, it's not really organized very well. So it also said at the bottom, if you'd like, I can turn this into a one-slide PowerPoint, reformat it for Canva, tailor it for faculty, nonprofits, or marketing teams. Just say the word. And you know what's really interesting? Why did it offer to tailor it to these groups?
Because I know you.
Exactly. It knows what I have put in before. It knows those are my usual audiences. You would have completely different audiences. It gets to know you. I don't know, you might find it a little creepy, but I like it. If it asks it to give it an example, it will often pull up some question that I asked it about maritime or about teaching and say, would you like an example from teaching? And sometimes it's right, and I say, why, yes. And sometimes it's something else. So interesting that it gave me this. Just say the word. And I just said, please make the chart into a PowerPoint slide with no emojis. And here's what I got. Ooh, fancy. Ooh, and it did this fade in. I did not do that. When I went out, I'm like, oh my goodness, it faded it, it made it fade in. And it gave me this chart. I kind of like that chart. Yeah, pretty good. Now, if I had put in my PowerPoint template, I could very easily have loaded a blank slide from my PowerPoint template and said, put it into that template for me, please. Isn't it weird? I always say please. People laugh at me when I do that, but I feel like I need to be polite with the AI. And I could even tell it every time you do a slide for me, please use this template. Or I could load 3 different templates in and say, please use my Stonehill template. Please use my Cape Cod Chamber template. Please use my personal template. And this is what we do is we start to choose an AI and use it more and more. It gets to know us, and we can put things into it that it will always remember, and it will start to understand us a little better and give us better output. So, in all seriousness, and I'm happy to share this with the Chamber so you can have this whole deck if you'd like it, and I know we're recording it as well, but this is a really nice chart that it gave us, you know, what it's best for, what its strengths are, and some notes to keep in mind. So you do want to, my recommendation is I use 3 or 4 AIs because I like to experiment, but ChatGPT is my go-to. You probably, as you're experimenting, want to find one that you like and use it most of the time if it's for the same kind of tasks and it's really well suited, so that you can start to build a library, if you will, of what it knows about you or what it knows about its templates. Pretty cool, huh? So, any questions so far? Let's turn to what's really important, which is prompting. So a prompt is the instruction you give to an AI tool, and the quality of your prompt, that's what determines the quality of your response. A good prompt will include a clear goal, context, and a desired format. And there very often is not one prompt. If you're lucky, and it gives you exactly what you wanted, that's great. But you saw for me, I had to prompt it a couple times to get to that final output. And I might have even prompted it more. I would thought, oh, wait a minute, I just want it to put into my PowerPoint template. I should have done that from the start. And you learn to get a little bit better about what you do. But here's a really simple formula that I recommend to everybody and that I use myself and that we'll use today. What is the role of the AI? Meaning, who do you want them to act like? Do you want them to act like you? Do you want them to act like a customer? Do you want them to act like a 5-year-old? so that what they give you is really simple. So you state the role. What task are you giving them? Exactly what do you want them to do? What is the context? And a lot of the proof is in, the details here of that context. Give them as much background as you have. You really can't give them too much background. And then the format. If you don't give them a format, it will just give you whatever it wants. Just like, for example, my example, I didn't give it a format, so it gave me a bulleted list. But I really wanted a chart. I could have said that from the very beginning. Or I want it to be a social media post. I also highly recommend in the format that if it's relevant, you give it a length. Sometimes it'll write something for me and I'll say, cut that in half. Or, and now I know better. You learn as you go along, and we're all learning what to do. So here's a great example. Act as a marketing expert. That's the role. So when you say that, you're going to assume that it is going to pull from its database and know some marketing terms, some marketing strategy, to technology. Write 5 Instagram captions promoting a spring sale for a local bakery. If this was you, you could put in the name of your business. Maybe it's, Hyannis Bakery. It should know how long a caption should be because, again, it's been somewhat trained, but you could also tell it how long you want it to be. You could also see what you get and refine it from there. Keep them friendly and under 150 characters. So it's giving you a little bit of context and a little bit on the format. You could say it should be very professional, or it should be targeted to families visiting the Cape in summer, or it should be targeted to families looking for baked goods for a birthday party. Think about what you really want it to do and tell it to do that. So again, I love that formula, but here are some other tips. Be really specific. Give context about your business. Ask for multiple options. I typically don't say, help me with this email and give it a lot of context. I say, tell me 3 ways I can say this. Or give me 5 different captions for my social post. And it will typically give you some really good options, and I often end up mixing and matching, and they kind of spark my creative juices from what it gives me, and I often end up with something that's a little different, but it was so helpful to have its input. Then you definitely want to refine and iterate. Don't give up. If it's not exactly what you want, think about how you want it to take it to the next level and ask it, and it will continue. Do be aware if you're using a free version of one of the AIs, typically there is a limit. At one point it will say, you only have 1 prompt left, you can't prompt me again till 6 p.m. That's where after you get into this and you find an AI that really works for you, you might want to buy a plus plan so that you can do whatever you'd like. In a nutshell, treat AI like a collaborative assistant. I'll give you an example. The other day, my husband, who's just learning and starting to use AI, he was working on an email, and he said, I want to use AI because I know I should be using it, but I want the AI to write the email like this, and it's this to this person, and this is the problem, but I want to say that very delicately, and I want to ask them for a response and not be pushy, but I do need it by the end of the week. I don't know how to put that into AI. And you know what I said? You just did. Pretend like you're talking to me. Pretend that it's a person. Pretend it's an assistant. You don't have to agonize over it. I have misspellings in my prompts. I have improper grammar. I sometimes don't have punctuation because I'm going so quickly. It's just like I'm just talking to you. Tell it everything that you would tell to your assistant or to your manager or to someone else that you would give that task to, including all the background information that they would need to do a really good job. Just treat it like a collaborative assistant. Just curious, how many people are using already some of these tips and prompting exercises? Anybody? Great. So I see a few people using them. That is wonderful. So if you want to get started, or I should say take your AI to the next level, choose the best one for you, but definitely experiment and use multiple tools while you're doing this. Start with one task, experiment with the prompts, save any prompts that work well. You can tell the AI to save them, Or I sometimes will keep like a Word document, kind of a file of things that I know I want to try again and again. Always review and edit your AI outputs. Again, as I said, golden rule, never your first pass, never your last pass. It should support you in the middle because you are the human. And at the end of the day, you are marketing or communicating with or working with or talking to humans. So you want to ingrain your expertise and your humanity and then have it help you and move on from there. And make sure that you're using AI to support and not replace your expertise. So, before we practice a little, it would be wonderful just to hear you share some things, maybe your experiences with prompting before we all give it a try and try some things. Anybody have some things that have worked well, things that have happened to you a lot that you don't like and you want to talk about or check in on? No? Yes.
My boss next to me here is AI to come up with a photo contest for our town. So I put it in, and we had some wonderful, cute names. I mean, I like to think, oh, only I could think of this. But when we put it in, we had some really creative ideas. I think I used, I'm not even sure, it might have been, it's the one that pops up when you're just on Google. I guess it was
That'd be Gemini, probably.
I guess it was Gemini. But I didn't do more prompts. We probably should have done more prompts, but I put the name of our town and photo contest. And
That's great. So
came
you
up
were
with
looking for a
pretty decent-
name.
Yeah, or just how, what was it, how the parameters of the contest. It was deeper than just a name. It was the whole structure of how to do the contest, and
Excellent.
it worked out pretty well.
I love it. Now, knowing what we know, just for grins and giggles, what could have been a next prompt? How could AI have helped her even more?
It probably could have helped a little bit more if we'd have put some of the, what we would have tended to do with some of the prizes. Like for example, I know that this particular bank that's sponsoring this, the photos that you have in your calendar, that you do a particular process, Cape and Coast Bank for their calendar goes and gets photographs. I don't know what process they use. But that's, part of that. And then I took it to our tourism committee and I said, well, you wanted to do a photo contest. Here's a suggestion. They turn around and they say, go down to Orleans Camera, where they've done several already, and just check on that and some of the things that are there. But it was really helpful just on a focus standpoint.
That's great. And you could have gone out to Orleans Camera, and if they had had some information, you could have input that or uploaded it to and asked it to do that. I'm thinking about even more. Here's a question: did you have a poster for the photo contest?
Not yet.
No, but you will.
Well, it's coming from a committee at the town, so we'll see where they go with that.
All right.
We're
Will there be social posts?
probably, yeah.
Will you probably promote it on a website?
Yeah.
Yeah. So once you get your copy, you can literally say, make me a flyer. Here are my colors and my logos. Make this into a social post for Instagram. Make this into a social post for Facebook. Make it for one in LinkedIn. And give me website copy to promote this. And boom, 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 it would do it all. Yeah.
So when it's making a flyer, when you have branding guidelines, if you put those in, you want consistency, because we see people making beautiful flyers, but they have no way, they don't tie into your branding, the branding. So how do you do that?
You're absolutely right. So I do a couple of things. I will upload a current flyer that I already have and tell it to follow that branding guideline. Or if I know I have a template and I have my, logo and all, I will have it do the flyer and I'll copy and paste and put it in the middle and slightly reformat it. Yeah, but you can train it to make them in your brand. And you can train Canva to do so as well. And then Canva has AI to do the writing for you if you'd like. So that's why Canva's a really good one for images. Yeah.
I would just say to that, just trust but verify, as you've mentioned before, because even though you do that, it may not retain that information. So just be cognizant of that. And we've had other, obviously at the bank, we have a lot of different partners throughout the communities and so forth. And they were trying to help us out, trying to make a flyer and so forth. Our logo has 3 distinct waves. There were half a dozen. And then it said another bank's name that may have a 5 in the name, combined with our, all of a sudden, 5, 6 wave. So it was just, it kind of went a little bit astray. So that's one of the things that you have to really watch out for. Just everything you do, make sure you put a set of eyeballs on it.
It's such a great point. And I have to admit, I have not been super adept at making things that were to my satisfaction. I'm a marketer and brand-wise. So when I say make a poster, I grab the content. You know, it'll have a heading and it'll have things really nicely worded, and it'll have the hours and it'll have the rules, and I grab it and I put it into my template. Yeah.
On the finance committee, I had made bingo cards for town meeting.
How did you do that?
I just said make bingo cards for town meeting and told it the town name. And it came up with, and then you have to like tinker it because you want, you know, rare phrases, not common phrases.
Absolutely, that's great. But you probably could have. You probably could have said make the phrases like this and gotten right to where you wanted them. That's so cool. Wow, yeah. How about here?
I work as a writer and an editor professionally, so I've been kind of tentatively testing the waters with it. But one tedious task that I've done every year, we've done a big best of competition in the magazine I have. And so I had a spreadsheet of all of this information that I'd have to take over into a Google document. And in the past, I would like painstakingly reformat, and it would take me forever to reformat it. And this year I actually had AI. I explained explicitly, you know, this is how I want it formatted, you know, only these ranges, you know, and can you do it? And it did it. And I was like, oh my God, I just gained back a whole day, you know, from this one task
So
that it did,
true.
you know. And then just to piggyback off what he was saying, I don't use it too much for writing, but I have tested the waters a little bit. And one thing I've noticed is it's good to say, you know, if you're giving it information, if you only wanted to use the information that you've provided, because it will make up quotes that are totally fictional. You know, if you say, here, write a story about this business, it will make things up. So you have to say to it, only use the information that I've provided, if that's the case, or you really have to have a second set of eyes to go through it, because it will totally make things up.
You're so right. Informationally, you really have to watch it. The other thing I do is another little tip. If I do want information, I say, please provide sources for every bit of information you give me, and it will provide a link that I can go to and then decide if I feel like it's credible.
Right.
It's funny that you say that because it really does want to make us happy. I wanted to convert my resume to a biographical resume. Someone had told me about it where it's more writing. So I uploaded my resume and I told it what I wanted to do, and I told it the voice, and I said, I really want an emphasis on contributions because future employers are looking for ways that you contribute. And it gave me this beautifully formatted resume. But in a job where I said, you know, that I developed award-winning products, it just made things up. And Kristen won the such and such award for such a project. And I'm like, where did that come from? And it quoted numbers like she experienced a 23% increase in ROI for her. And it totally made things up because it wanted to make me happy about, you know, showing the contributions. Yeah.
I think it does that because it learned that a lot of people fib on the resumes and feel free to like riff.
I had to read it with a fine-tooth comb. Was there a question over here? Yeah.
I was just gonna say,
Oh, good.
Some people were saying what you want to do is, if you can, obviously upload your personal logos from your business. I work for Scouting America, so I told it to put a fleur-de-lis in there, which is a pretty common shape. Well, it doesn't pick the one that we use. It picked, so luckily I can download them from our website, you know. Also, double check your spelling, because when you go back through, it will change your text, and you may not catch it because you thought, well, it already created that paragraph that I liked. Well, then it'll go and change it. And even if you tell it specifically, don't touch what you've already put in there. You know, it sometimes will. So thank you for the ideas of the perspective, because I'm obviously trying to market to scouts and their parents.
Exactly.
But I've been trying to write things. I've been trying to give it prompts to write me, like, you know, create me a marketing campaign for this, you know, particular scout thing, but I'm not doing it as a test, you know, and trying to run them daily so it'll learn me, but not doing it from their point of view. So that's smart. But yeah, the one thing I was thinking that I do that maybe, you know, some of you had said, run it by your kids. Your kids are doing this every day in school. So I take it home to my 18-year-old. I go, hey, Cole, check this out for me. Did I, what would you have done? What language would you have used? And he'll say, oh, no, Dad, do this, don't do this, Okay. So,
Absolutely.
they're the experts, So.
Well, we still need humans, and that
Yeah.
is very true. And it is true also that AIs are getting better every day. Some of it's a little bit scary, but we can only embrace it and learn how to use it. And I'm really glad you talked about the roles because, again, being a marketer, you also want to think about who your material is. For example, let's take Stonehill College, for example. I might be writing a piece of material that's for a prospective student. That's very different from a prospective parent. Students want to know, woohoo, where are the party places and the sports and how's the food? And the parents are like, how much does it cost? And is it safe, right? I might be saying the same things, but I might be writing about an event to a current student. I don't need to sell them on Stonehill. I need to talk about their enhanced experience. Even a bank, for example, you might have residential customers and commercial customers, people looking for loans, people looking for, different checking and savings accounts, car loans, other products and services. So who you're writing for is really important. Would you like? Go ahead.
My experience with events would have to be, just because I deal with so many events and promoting them, I've had to tell my AI, which is Gemini, that I do have a subscription to, tell me the date first thing, because it often does not know the date today. So it will pick the wrong day of the week for an event, or even the wrong year. So that is definitely something that you need to triple check.
That is really interesting. Yeah.
Conversely, I had an opportunity to write a grant that I was told I had to keep to 5 sentences. So I felt that the title was really important. So I actually input what we had written in those 5 sentences to ask what is a good eye-catching title for these 5 sentences. And it brought back 4 different examples that were awesome.
That's great. That's really great. And it is good to ask for multiples. Would you like to try one together? Maybe something that you all are working on in your business? Let me see how our time is. Yeah, we have about 5 more minutes? Is that good? Oops, I'm going to actually close out of this and bring up, I opened ChatGPT. So does somebody have something you'd like to test out and we can all help using, that role and the task and the context and, the format? Anything that you've been working on in your business or something you want to try? Yes.
What local events are coming up in the next week?
Okay. So how should we write that? Local events, if we need to make it a little bit more refined, what is the role of the person or who are you targeting?
Tourists.
Okay. And are you targeting tourists all over the world or on Cape Cod?
Cape Cod.
Cape Cod, okay. So see how specific, if we had put that in, it would have been kind of funny. It might have given us some things in Slovenia, right? That are happening this week.
Yeah, we get stuff from Harwich, UK a lot.
Oh, I bet so. And you want to know what events are happening and what was the time frame?
In the next week.
Okay.
May 3rd to May, what's that Saturday?
Well, it might know next week.
So May 3rd through 10th. But interesting, if we just said next week, we don't know after what happened to Amy, or if we didn't put a time frame, it would give us a zillion things, right? What else should we be saying here? Like, are you interested in literally any event or something that's a certain genre?
Events for tourists.
Outdoor events, okay. And events for children? I'm going to say include outdoor events and events for children. Should we say only? Just for this?
No.
No? Just leave it? Okay. What else should we say? Do you remember the little formula?
Free.
Oh. They must be free. There's a biggie at the end that we haven't done yet. Format. You want them in bullets? Okay. What else? What is it going to give us in bullets? Or should I say, what do you want it to give? Do you want?
Like date.
Date. What else? Great. Provide date, time, location. Anything else? Do you want like a brief description? Anything else? You think we're pretty good?
What about if it's a rainy day?
Oh. Oops. Anything else? So I'm going to stop for a minute. It's going to be kind of funny. I'm going to actually take this out because I really like this. And I'm going to go back to our original prompt.
Do you mean tourist events happening this week?
Ah, now it picked up on Cape Cod, didn't it? And why did it do that, you think?
Brewster and Blues.
Look. Oh, it's giving me a little map. Look at all that. Very cool. And it also has an ad. Now you're going to start to see ads. But let's see what happens if we do a more detailed prompt. Nice. So now we have a little description. We have its location and its time. It's still giving us a map. But these are all family things. So you see how we got a little bit more detail, just the family things as opposed to the whole list. We could have said things involving pets, things involving food. We could have narrowed in the date, narrowed in the location. What if we say, oh, there it goes. I was going to say, it's a little slow. How about if I say, it's still thinking, but I'm going to go ahead and push it. Look at that. So see, this could be something that you would just copy and paste into your template, and then you would tweak it. So these are the kind of things that are just really useful and save you a lot of time, how it can reformat and repurpose and all kinds of different things. Yes?
So I fed your prompt to Gemini with my camera, and it said, if you turn the chandelier off, it'll be easier for people in the back half of the screen.
Oh my goodness! That is wild! It's getting pretty personal, isn't it? Well, any final questions? No, and before I leave you, I did want to share this. So this is the flyer that's in the back. We are offering a course that includes brainstorming, creative problem solving, a whole bunch of different approaches that are synectics, scamper, I wish, reframing, as well as a lot of work on AI. And a lot of the AI involves the ethical use of AI, us being aware of copyright infringement, image infringement, workplace integrity, and even the integrity of our humanity and how we contribute as humans as opposed to AI. So there's a flyer in the back, and of course, we offer a lot of other programs as well, and I have lots of information on that too. Excited that we're finally offering a course on the Cape. But this is me, this is my email address. If you scan that, you can connect to me on LinkedIn. I would love to stay in touch, love to hear what you're doing, and let me know if I can help you in any way. I hope today was fun and useful, and I can't wait to see what you try. Thank you so much.